Hi, everyone. Today is Saturday, August 9th, 2025. Welcome. I'm Jeffrey Morgan, and this is a talk I host twice a week to discuss my experiences on the path of soul transcendence. This offering is brought to you by the Movement of Spiritual Inner Awareness with the encouragement and support of my friend John Morton, who holds the mystical traveler consciousness, which is the spiritual consciousness that allows us to do the work that we're doing here today. If you're new to the call, the format is simple. We're going to start by calling ourselves forward into the light, which is calling our awareness forward into the light of God that's already present. And then we're going to chant three Anai hues. Hu is an ancient name for God, and Anai invokes a quality of empathy and compassion. Then I'm going to play a video clip from my teacher, John Roger, and then I'm going to do a reading from Jesus, Son of Man by Khalil Gibran. In honor of an event that's going on at 1:30 p.m. today. And we'll give you more details about that in a bit in case you wanted to register last minute. So with that, Ron Holnick, would you like to call us forward into the light? Let me just hit your thing. There you go.
All right. Lord God of all creation, we come before you this morning with love in our hearts, for love is all that truly exists in our hearts. And we ask that we be shown, that we be directed, that we be guided, lovingly guided throughout the day and for the rest of our lives. So be it.
The only truth is this.
La única verdad es esta.
I am love.
Yo soy amor.
When you come by me,
Cuando te acercas,
that place that is love
ese lugar que es amor
inside of me
dentro de mí
wakens up.
despierta.
It is not
No es,
you make me feel love.
tú me haces sentir amor.
It's always there.
Está siempre ahí.
It was just covered with hurt
Estaba tapado con dolor
and the conditions of life.
y las condiciones de la vida.
And we remove the conditions
Sacamos esas condiciones
by looking at them intellectually,
mirándolas intelectualmente,
through reasoning,
a través del
and you
razonamiento.
took your excuses and put them aside,
Tomas tus excusas y las dejas a un lado
and the love comes up.
y el amor fluye.
On top of the love
Encima del amor
are emotions.
están las emociones
And emotions come up too.
y las emociones salen también.
And sometimes they come as tears,
Y a veces son como lágrimas,
as laughter,
como risa,
as joy,
como dicha,
with thanksgiving.
como acción de gracias.
But people look past the emotions,
Pero la gente mira más allá de las emociones
and then they see the spirit.
y ven el espíritu.
And after you see someone's spirit,
Y después de ver el espíritu de alguien,
you can never hurt them again.
no puedes herirlos ya más,
Because that spirit
porque ese espíritu
is in everyone.
está en cada uno.
All right, this is a longer one, so sit back and enjoy. From Jesus, Son of Man, Simon, who was called Peter, when he and his brother were called. I was on the shore of the lake of Galilee when I first beheld Jesus, my Lord and my Master. My brother Andrew was with me, and we were casting out net into the waters. The waves were rough and high, and we caught but few fish, and our hearts were heavy. Suddenly Jesus stood near us, and he had taken form that very moment, for we had not seen him approaching. He called us by our names, and he said, "If you will follow me, I will lead you to an inlet where the fishes are swarming." And as I looked at his face, the net fell from my hands, for a flame kindled within me, and I recognized him. And my brother Andrew spoke and said, "We know all of the inlets upon these shores, and we know also that on a windy day like this the fish seek a depth beyond our nets." And Jesus answered, "Follow me to the shores of a greater sea. I shall make you fishers of men, and your net shall never be empty." And we abandoned our boat and our net and followed him. I myself was drawn by a power viewless that walked beside his person. I walked near him, breathless and full of wonder, and my brother Andrew was behind us, bewildered and amazed. And as we walked on the sand, I made bold and said unto him, "Sir, I and my brother will follow your footsteps, and where you go, we too will go. But if it please you to come to our house this night, we shall be graced by your visit. Our house is not large, and our ceiling not high, and you will sit at but a frugal meal. Yet if you will abide in our hovel, it will be to us a palace. And would you break bread with us? We, in your presence, were to be envied by the princes of the land." And he said, "Yea, I will be your guest this night." And I rejoiced in my heart, and we walked behind him in silence until we reached our house. And as we stood at the threshold, Jesus said, "Peace be to this house, and to those who dwell in it." And then we entered, and he followed him. We followed him. My wife and my wife's mother and my daughter stood before him, and they worshipped him. Then they knelt before him and kissed the hem of his sleeve. They were astonished that he, the chosen and the well-loved, had come to be our guest, and for they had already seen him by the river Jordan, when John the Baptist had proclaimed him before the people. And straightway my wife and my wife's mother began to prepare the supper. My brother Andrew was a shy man, but his faith in Jesus was deeper than my faith. And my daughter, who was then but 12 year old, stood by him and held his garment, as if she were in fear he would leave us and go out again into the night. She clung to him like a lost sheep that has found its shepherd. And then we sat at the board, and he broke the bread and poured the wine, and he turned to us, saying, "My friends, grace me in sharing this food with me, even as the Father has graced us in giving it unto us." These words he said ere he touched a morsel, for he wished to follow an ancient custom that an honored guest becomes the host. And as we sat with him around the board, we felt as if we were sitting at the feast of the great king. My daughter, Petronilla, who was young and unknowing, gazed at his face and followed the movements of his hands, and I saw a veil of tears in her eyes. And when he left the board, we followed him and sat about him in the vine arbor. And he spoke to us, and we listened, and our hearts fluttered within us like birds. He spoke of the second birth of man, and of the opening of the gates of the heaven, and of angels descending and bringing peace and good cheer to all men, and the angels ascending to the throne, bearing the longings of men to the Lord God. Then he looked into my eyes and gazed into the depths of my heart, and he said, "I have chosen you and your brother, and you must needs come with me. You have labored, and you have been heavy laden, Now I shall give you rest. Take up my yoke and learn of me, for in my heart is peace, and your soul shall find abundance and a homecoming. When he spoke thus, I and my brother stood up before him, and I said to him, Master, we will follow you to the ends of the earth. And if our burden were as heavy as the mountain, we would bear it with you in gladness. And should we fall by the wayside, we shall know that we have fallen on the way to heaven, and we shall be satisfied. And my brother Andrew spoke and said, Master, we should be threads between your hands and your loom. Weave us into the cloth, if you will. For we would be in raiment of the Most High, in the raiment of the Most High. And my wife raised her face, and the tears were upon her cheeks, and she spoke with joy, and she said, Blessed are you who come in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the womb that carried you and the breast that gave you milk. And my daughter, who was but 12 years old, sat at his feet, and she nestled close to him. And my mother, the mother of my wife who sat at the threshold, had said no word. She only wept in silence, and her shawl was wet with her tears. Then Jesus walked over to her, and he said, and he raised her face to his face, and he said to her, You are mother of all these, you weep for joy, and I will keep your tears in my memory. And now the old moon rose above the horizon, and Jesus gazed upon it for a moment, and then he turned to us and said, It is late, seek your beds, and may God visit your repose. I will be here in this arbor until dawn. I have cast my net this day, and I have caught 2 men. I am satisfied. And now I bid you good night. Then my wife's mother said, But we have laid your bed in the house. I pray you enter and rest. And he answered her, saying, I would indeed rest, but not under a roof. Suffer me to lie this night under the canopy of the grapes and the stars. And she made haste and brought out the mattress and the pillows and the coverings. And he smiled at her, and he said, Behold, I shall lie down upon a bed twice made. Then we left him and entered into the house, and my daughter was last one to enter, and her eyes were upon him until I closed the door. Thus for the first time I knew my Lord and Master, and though it was many years ago, it still seems but of today. Okay. Thank you all for your patience. We have an event today called On the Verge of Christ with John Morton, Lee Taylor Young, and myself. So we'll post a link for that in case you feel called to join last minute. But that reading was in honor of that theme. Bruce, I don't know that I've seen you before. Have you shared? Raise just thumbs up. Have you shared before or no? Or thumbs down? Thumbs down? Like that? Okay, great. I think of the people in line, you're the one who hasn't shared before, so I'm going to give you first dibs.
Okay. Well, thank you for that reading. I've been at some of these meetings, and it's been very enlightening and helpful, and I appreciate that. Um, so about maybe a year ago or less than a year ago, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and there were many options in terms of treating it, and I sort of convinced to have surgery, which I did. And I'm still recovering from the surgery. And I had at first some regrets about that decision, but that's water under the bridge. It does seem to be healing. And I'm 72. I tend to look younger or have a young spirit, and but I'm definitely feeling 72 and feeling I can really taste my mortality now, you know. And I'm still, active, working and stuff like that, but I can feel that my health is not what it used to be, and some days are difficult. Um, so um, where I'm sitting with it is this is the stage of life I'm in, and sometimes I battle with that. Um, but that's the reality of it. And in some ways, my relationships are better than they've ever been. So there's this presence and spirit that's coming through that didn't, that's coming through now in the face of this struggle. So,
Mm.
and sometimes it's just really difficult, you know. So there's this sort of battle maybe going on within me.
Do you have a question on that, or
Hmm. I don't know if you usually listen to people and you have good insights.
oh,
And
you want some insight on that, on what you just, yeah, I can absolutely do. So it sounds like what you shared is you have some physical challenges associated with that you associate with aging. You recently had a prostate surgery related to prostate cancer that you're still recovering from, and you're noticing the slowness of that recovery. At the same time, you're feeling more of a spiritual experience. That's all pretty accurate?
yeah, that's all pretty accurate.
Okay. So I I've had the privilege of working with quite a few people who are aging, and I don't necessarily think that aging has to be this linear procession into oblivion or something like that. And I think that what hangs most people up and what brings the kind of melancholy is uh, usually a couple things. One is I think people don't realize the degree to which their habituated patterns and memories and beliefs get locked into the cell level. And so that reduces the plasticity and the agility of the body to receive new information and new energy. So the recovery, to some extent, is not only hampered by cellular regeneration and things like that, you know, could be assisted by nutrients or certain things that you're doing. It's also hampered by things like trapped emotions or things that got patterned into you on the epigenetic level.
Yep.
Like even something like the prostate will probably trigger things that you have about reproductive and creative expression,
Mm.
um, identities in terms of things like fatherhood or even being or even sexuality. So anything that you have locked in there emotionally is going to prevent the receptivity of the cell to the new energies coming forward, the new patterning.
Mm.
So what ends up happening is when people are older, especially men, a lot of the beliefs and ways of working become very fixed. And that's biologically supported. That's kind of what happens in most men's lives is after a certain age. That's why the whole like trope of like you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like there's some truth to that with men because certain things get locked in the brain. So it's like men have to work extra hard to maintain plasticity of consciousness or fluidity of consciousness. And you've probably noticed like, oh wait, why am I responding that way? That just seems like an automatic response. I need to really ponder this to make sure that this is something that is present with this person, not just me projecting or not just me putting my rule on them. So there's a way that the cellular level starts to reflect that positionality. And so it's not simply, so it's like, how do you relate to the surgery? Now, if you relate to the surgery as who you were and the fixed positionality of the cells, and then something's getting removed, something's getting changed, it becomes very difficult to adapt. But if instead you look at it as, say, an upgrade, like this is a body upgrade or something like that, it becomes a very different
Yeah.
very different relationship to it.
Yes.
So for example, if you were a lobster, you would have to go under a rock and you would have to leave your shell behind in order to grow a new shell that was more the size of your gooey self. Yes?
Yeah.
So as a lobster, you could look at that as a loss. Oh my God, I lost my shell. I've lost my identity. Everybody knew me as that specific color of lobster and that specific size. Or you look at it and go, oh no, I'm a new lobster.
Mhm.
That's what's present.
Yes.
So I understand I'm using a funny metaphor,
No, I like it.
but basically, when you're talking about something like a surgery, see, I find that people on a spiritual path have far too many exceptions to that spiritual path.
Mm.
And I'm using the word path, and the non-dualist in me is saying that's a ridiculous term. But let's just say it's not a ridiculous term. Let's just use it for now. When people are on a spiritual path, what I've noticed is it's like everything is all ephemeral until you get punched in the face, and then all of a sudden the punch in the face are not spiritual. You get what I'm saying? So like the medical procedure, it's like, oh, I'm going to be very spiritual. I'm going to eat granola and I'm going to take homeopathics, but now I have prostate, whatever, and now I'm going to no, okay, let's shake ourselves out of this. We're gonna do a real procedure with like a real doctor, and like it's like somehow the doctor isn't part of spirit acting upon you, or somehow the incisions are not a spiritual action, or somehow you being put under was not an opportunity for the spirit to work with you, or somehow so that's what I say when there's too many exceptions to the spiritual path for most people. Or another one, and usually it's the sacred cows, right? It's your bank account. Like everything's all spiritual and spirit led until my bank account's too low, and then oh my God, I have to figure out how to fill up this bank account.
Yeah.
And why have you forsaken me, God? Rather than going, oh, the lower bank account is part of my spiritual journey.
100%. Yeah.
So there's a way in which what I perceive, and for you it's subtle because I get that you've cultivated that fluidity of consciousness where you don't want to get fixed. And part of the reason people think that you're more youthful and that you even show more youth in your face is because you have a presence about you on the conscious level. I don't know that your cellular level fully reflects that fluidity that you've cultivated in your consciousness. And there's different methods of working with that. There's different practitioners that do that. There's a great book called The Emotion Code. They have ways of working with that.
Worked with the emotion code actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, but it might be something a little bit trickier, like something locked in the epigenetic.
Yeah.
So in a sense, the the healing process will be accelerated proportionally to the level of freedom you give your consciousness to be what it is right now, and consciousness meaning the body included.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
there's a way in which the intention becomes, look, there's already an intelligence going on here, and that intelligence emanates from the spirit and goes all the way down to the cellular level. So it's like if it started 18 inches above your head and it anchored all the way to your toes and the cells of your toes and the molecules of the cells of your toes, that's that this intelligence is running the show. But what do I do that's helpful? I remove blocks to that intelligence. I remove blocks to that movement. And it's almost like you would need to look outside of yourself as well, because um, the openness that you came in with, that openness that creates safety with people, was also a means by which you took on other people into yourself. So some of what I'm talking about is other people's positionality, but in order to maintain the openness that you love about yourself, you did not deal with what accumulated in the subconscious levels and in the cellular levels. Because some of what accumulated is stuckness. It's the guy that you don't want to be, The guy that you don't want to be is trapped in your cells. The guy that you don't want to be is trapped in your subconscious. So it's like, how do you embrace that person? And that might be, it's like a lot of people who end up like like you are, either they had, it's one of two things: either they had an amazing father that demonstrated what it is to be really open and they just wanted to carry that forward, or they had the polar opposite, a real stuck asshole that they never want to be like, if it's the last thing they do, so they maintain this openness.
Mm.
Now, oftentimes there's a reference point that we decided early on. Now, it served you because here you are. You decided early on, I'm not going to be like that asshole. But you still, because of you had that judgment, you started to take in that asshole from other people,
Yeah.
but then disregarded it and pushed it down in order to maintain the sweetness and the safety and the calm that you
That's
could do on an interpersonal relationship. So it's going to take some time to clear it, but I think it becomes more, um, what is the level of resistance? Like I tell people, if you were to visualize a sphere above your head of light of a quality, and in this case, the quality would be openness, fluidity, and surrender to the divine intelligence. You call it like surrender to divine intelligence, might be a good theme. That you bring that through the body and you start to notice where it goes clunk.
Mm.
You start dialoguing with that part of you, or you start working on, and you can use, like you were saying, you've tried emotion code. There's different methods of unblocking it and getting it to release. But and it may even be chemical, like it may even be like you're shown a homeopathic to take, or you're shown a nutrient or an amino acid or something, but it gets revealed in dialogue with the block itself.
Yeah.
But it's the good news is you have a reference point in your interpersonal relationships of the kind of openness and acceptance that you're asking for on a cellular level.
Yeah. It's interesting that for 40 years, this is my 40th year, 39th, I've been working as a healer.
Oh, okay.
I do cranial work, and yeah, I've taken on a lot of stuff. And someone said the other day, and like how can I work with this somatic work? It's definitely a somatic thing, and I know there's grief underneath that. And um, he said, well, go to somebody like you. Like what you offer to the world, find somebody who does what you offer to the world. I mean, it's pretty funny.
That's funny. Um, that doesn't surprise me. You have a very healing presence.
Yeah.
But the tricky part is, we accumulate. Uh, so first off, that divinity that I talked about, that as the healer. But that flow of energy is hung up by the burrs and the spurs and the thing. Those are the hooks. That's why you would pick up stuff from the work.
Yeah.
It would be attached to the disowned one inside of you.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if it's the tricky part is I don't know if it's somatic work because it feels a bit more mechanical. Like it feels like it's more coding. It's more information. Do you know there was an information revolution? Somebody redefined information in in and about the 19th century, like in the Enlightenment period. Um, they defined information as some kind of a conceptual understanding that is conveyed between humans.
Mhm.
But at a certain point, information became the ordered arrangement of matter capable of reproducing a phenomena.
Mhm.
And then, and that one conceptual shift brought us from Shakespeare to a microchip, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
a microchip is information.
Mhm.
Information is the ordered arrangement of silicon molecules
Mhm.
capable of reproducing a phenomena, you know?
Mhm.
So I think of it more as a coding at this point. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't know that you could gestalt it or have energy on it or do that. It's more like you have to find it and very surgically tap it or release it or tuning fork it or put it into the ground or needle it or it's you get what I'm saying? It feels
Yeah.
like it is emotions. So it's two pieces. One, I think the accumulation in the flesh needs to be more mechanically worked with. So I've seen chiropractors do it. I've seen all kinds of different folks. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of ways to do it now that you know what it is. But the other component is there is a root level you that you disowned when you were very young,
Yes.
and you felt that you had to forsake that person to become the healer that you are.
Hmm.
Now that one we could almost do like right now. If you know the name of that thing, I could show you a way to do that right now.
Hmm. The name of the thing that I disowned.
So is it Bruce the asshole? Is it what is it?
Yeah, there's some kind of energy. Yeah, that's kind of um
But what's the word that's got trigger for you?
word. Um
Mean, asshole, serious,
Arrogant, uh
arrogant. There we go. Yeah, that has some juice.
arrogant, self-centered, um, yeah, arrogant.
Arrogant, self-centered asshole. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there you go. So what I do is when I identify a part of me that I have decided is not part of me, which is ridiculous because as as microcosms of the macrocosm of all of God's creation, we are indeed all of it.
yep,
Right?
yep,
So what I do is I start to heal and reintegrate that.
yep.
So what was it? Arrogant, self-centered asshole? No.
Yeah, that
Okay.
that's sort of in the ballpark for sure.
Well, I mean, make some changes. What do you think could make it perfect? Is it pretty much there?
Yeah, I was working with somebody a long time ago for a long anyway, and he said your reason you're not manifesting what you want in your life is because you're angry. And it was like
Uh,
actually fuck you. That like that anger has a lot of energy,
oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
you don't know, maybe you're angry, I don't know, but yeah.
Angry, arrogant, self-centered asshole.
Yeah, and
Wait,
judgmental. And for a while I lived in Colorado. I was like a biker, I was like a real wild man, and I drew a lot to me. It was kind of, you know, and I was judgmental, and it's like, the hell with spiritual stuff and meditation and all that stuff. It's almost like this dual, yeah, this is helpful because there's almost like this dual view of spiritual path as you speak about in spirituality. Like part of it
I'm a
is,
spiritual asshole.
yeah, yeah, like I'm a spiritual asshole, and I push that aside. It's like, I want to be like Jesus, but without and there's part of me that's like,
About the hardware.
what? Yeah, without yeah, like, um, yeah, yeah, there's this part of me saying that, well, it's all bullshit, you know. And I push that down. This spiritual bypass kind of thing. But
Yes,
be,
I think your goal is to fall in love with that person.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So like when I have something like that, like if I was doing arrogant, self-centered, or angry, self-centered, arrogant asshole, well maybe we shorthand it like the biker. What do you think?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
biker. So, and what's his name, by the way?
Uh, uh,
Really angry, arrogant name. What do you think?
yeah.
Butch. I don't know. Spike.
Yeah, like Spike is kind of, yeah, like kind of,
So Spike.
this Native American teacher I had, I wanted a new name, and he said, I'm going to call you Bruno instead of Bruce, you know. But yeah, like kind of like,
Is it Bruno?
I don't think so. It doesn't just fit.
Like,
You know, it's just
like
like, um, yeah, some kind of really grody kind of name, like something
Ashtray.
ashtray, right?
I feel like I knew a guy named Ashtray once.
Yeah.
We, we yeah, what do you want to call him? Anything.
Anything. All right.
So if I was gonna start working on this, and you would do this on a lot of angles, I would just go, I forgive myself for judging Ashtray, the angry, self-centered, arrogant asshole in me. So I'd start with that. I forgive myself for judging Ashtray, the angry, self-centered, arrogant asshole in me.
Mhm.
And I forgive myself for forgetting that I'm divine, because that's what all this is about, forgetting that we're one. And then I would say, I forgive myself for forgetting that Ashtray, the angry, self-centered, arrogant asshole, is divine, because it's
Mhm.
part of me. So it's also divine. And then I would also look at why I'm grateful for Ashtray.
Mm.
So I'm that part of me, Ashtray, the angry, self-centered, arrogant asshole, is super useful when I'm dealing with uh, customer service, bouncing me around, gets me results really fast, uh,
Yeah.
keeps me from getting tricked by people. Sometimes people are trying to sell me something or manipulate, and then the asshole comes out, and then that just cuts that shit right in half.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there's this part of me that's casting this guy out, you know, is I'm not really in truth. You know, there are like several spiritual women who are doing this sort of dance with me, and like they're full of crap, you know. And I'm not, and there's actually someone in particular, you know, who's this sort of thing like, wow, I'm so drawn to you, and I want to have this thing, and I want to, you know, and I want to have these Zoom calls, and I want to meet you, and all this stuff, and you know, she's a spirit in this big spiritual path, you know, and she gave me times, and I wrote to her, and then she got back with, oh, I forgot, and the first thing is like fuck you, like what? That's a bunch of horseshit.
Okay, so Ashtray also protects you from time to time. It protects you from being gaslit and shined on.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
Ashtray, the angry, self-centered, arrogant asshole, is also a protector. So that's
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
treat
then,
them well. Yeah.
yeah, and the Ashtray's a good like bullshit detector.
Yeah.
Ashtray's great at sniffing bullshit, which keeps you safe in this world.
Yep.
Yeah. So, where I go, thank God for Ashtray, the angry, self-centered, arrogant asshole. And I say, I love Ashtray, the angry, self-centered, arrogant asshole. And God loves Ashtray, the angry, self-centered, arrogant asshole. And then I usually, like for me, the entire goal of the process of this kind of self-inquiry is to realize that we're in the oneness, which we would call the Christ within. Like we're remembering ourselves to the body of Christ. We're reconstituting the fullness of our Christ itself in this process. So I always end with, and I give Ashtray, the angry, self-centered, arrogant asshole, to the Christ within, and I go free.
Mm,
When I integrate it into the Christ within,
mm,
there's, see, for me, the only freedom is soul transcendence. Like that's, for me, it's like the soul realm and beyond. That's where you go for liberation. But how do you experience freedom as a consciousness having a human experience? It's all about integration. It's all about removing the false separations and forgetfulness that we have going, where we forget that we're divine. That's why, I said all those forgiveness phrases that work real well for me, but I forgive myself for forgetting that I'm divine is probably the most important, because
yeah.
ultimately all suffering arises from that forgetfulness.
Yeah.
So, so you start working with those parts of you that are positioned and are stubborn and you fall in love with them. And sometimes it's easier to focus on the people that you judge first.
Hmm.
Anybody who triggers you, including that woman who was real flaky,
Yeah.
now you get to work with all of your judgments on the part of you that's flaky.
Mm, that's right.
So, so that's the, so that's what I would, that's what I would look at.
Yeah.
And I think there's a level that also would support your work where you become less and less there. That you're just a vessel by which the spirit does the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's these subconscious levels that create friction and create stickiness that results in you then picking up things. And if you can keep it real open and give yourself a lot of permission to be the asshole when the asshole is present and to love the asshole when the asshole is present and to be present with the asshole and listen to the asshole and comfort the asshole and heal the asshole, that's what's going to result in this stuff getting released. And it's not static. It's not like, oh, we did this forgiveness process, it's gone. It's like it's a constant process of giving signals of belonging to all the parts of you that you disown and constantly acting as if every part of you belongs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that will start to integrate. But again, some of this is hardwired
Yeah.
into the epigenetic level for you.
Yeah.
So it might require something, again, you know, photon therapy or right, like there's all kinds of different, red light therapy and like, different types of like acupuncture, like you got to find a way to also break it as a coding out of the cellular level.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think you know what I'm talking, given you're a healer and you do this type of work, you understand what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
there's some of it's on the information level and some of it's stuff that you do actually need to process in your core identity level, because the identity level is what's going to reproduce it later, even if you clear it out of the cellular level.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to do both.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, thank you.
Hopefully that helped.
It did help. I just a very quick story. I have a friend, he's a disciple of the Zen master, and he's also a professional comedian, and when he first met the Zen master was on a radio show. He was interviewing him, and he said, well, the reason I can't do meditation and this Buddhism is like, first of all, I don't do things half-assed. He said, I have to have the right clothes. I have to have the right thing to sit on. And he said, I need a really expensive Buddha to be in the room with me, and I can't afford it. So I just ain't going to do this. And I thought that was like pretty funny. Like he was being, arrogant and they became pretty close actually. Um, yeah, no, I get it. I get it. And
Do
yeah,
you know, there's this contradiction. I don't know what spiritual means because everything we do is spiritual, because we are spirit doing.
yeah. And part of it I is with this surgeon. I mean, everything was pointing to do this and do this with him. And now I'm turning around. This part of me is like, you messed me up, man. And
That's also a story.
it's also a story, and it is healing, and yeah. So anyway, it's exhausting.
Yeah, I
Try.
don't, looking back and thinking things, we as humans think that we have so much control over everything all the time. And every human has a life plan that's to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
And so if your life plan to be fulfilled involved excising some tissue, that's a debt you are going to need to pay.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what drew me to being at these meetings with you, um, is that you spoke and you often speak about this classroom that you need to be in. And this is part of my class, this surgery and this whole prostate thing. This is my classroom.
It's huge.
And part of me is like, I don't want to be in this classroom, this particular classroom, And there's some karma that's being worked with here. I know that, you know. And part of me just doesn't like it.
Yeah, and I think for the mental level, describing your life as if it were perfectly orchestrated for your upliftment, growth, and learning will help.
Mhm.
So right now you're allowing yourself to go into, well, what if I was tricked?
Yeah,
Because part of the asshole in you exists because when you came in with a sensitivity and openness,
right.
and very early on people took advantage of it, like on the schoolyard. So the
Every-
asshole,
That's
sorry.
that's right. You're absolutely right.
So one of your biggest, so we just cleared the asshole, but what you really need to clear is being made a fool of and taken advantage of.
That's right.
So what happens is when you don't like the result, your go-to is to assume this one fatal flaw that you have of being naive, gullible,
Yep.
sensitive is being activated again.
Yep.
And so then you're going, oh, well, I must have been tricked into having this surgery because I'm a naive, gullible
Right.
idiot, you know?
And
And
exactly.
that's that, but that's, see, that's, we just cleared the asshole. You also got to clear who the asshole was defending.
That's right. And that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
And
That
that's all that,
naive, gullible asshole who believes that it's his fault for being a naive, gullible asshole. I mean,
that childlike innocence that happens within you when you allow it,
mm,
that is, a doorway to the Christ consciousness. It's like suffer little children to come unto me, or you must be like a child to enter the kingdom of heaven.
yeah,
It is a gift from God that you have that sensitivity
yeah,
and that purity of consciousness.
yeah,
And it's a gift from God that you have an asshole that can protect you, and it's a gift from God. So it's like, how do you integrate and how do you fall in love with the gullible one in you?
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Because you have a lot of judgment of that.
I do. And the thing is, I'm actually a chiropractor by trade, and somebody set up a GoFundMe campaign for, which I didn't necessarily need, but the value of it is in the writings. I'm also a writer. I was just completely vulnerable and open, and people like just not just sent money, but also flocked to me because there was something that they so much related to in what I was writing, that sort of. And there is this purity and openness and understanding and that came in with, which I'm a great healer because of that. And also um, this vulnerability, if it's not protected, can be really harmed, you know.
Yeah, and I think there's an opportunity to shift into perfect vulnerability as perfect protection.
Yes,
Your protection, that what you just said is what you've been running since you were a kid. If
right,
I don't defend my vulnerability, I'm going to be taken advantage of.
right.
And that's that posture that I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and then as you were clearing this out of people's bodies, the release was sometimes attaching to your body because of the frequency of that posturing.
yeah. Mm.
Now, as far as what might be another opportunity is assuming that everybody who comes to you is actually coming to you for you to heal yourself. So you're healing yourself through them. And that's all we're talking about here. If you shift the focal point, that will also help with the energy of it.
And I see that over and over again, when I was,
They came to me to bring me my issue. Thank you so much. It's like that's how I experience it when I work with people.
yeah, and that's uh, consistent. That's consistent.
So yeah, so I think it's time for you to shift into relating to your vulnerability as a superpower
Hmm.
rather than a kryptonite.
Yeah.
And how do you and I think the more you accept the asshole and the more you accept the one the asshole is defending, then either one can come out when it's appropriate, but you're not a ping pong ball that's kind of getting swatted between them, you know?
Yep. Yeah. I'm thinking of like Superman and Clark Kent sort of thing, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I think it's just about, again, integration. You start to integrate all of those into the beauty and magnificence and multifaceted diamond that you are. And then all of a sudden, you can be whoever you are in this moment. And the more you embrace what I'm talking about, the less past referent things will be. Like things won't come up from your past in your consciousness. Things will, like you'll really just be whoever you are right now, not the diploma on your wall, not the this people here. You're none of those things. You're just like I was born today, and the cellular level will start to reflect that.
Yeah. Beautiful, man.
All right.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And thanks for all this time, everybody. I appreciate it. Really helpful.
All right, man. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you
And
too.
where are you, by the way?
Up in New Paltz, New York, upstate New York. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Is it really beautiful up there?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Now that it's not 104 and humid, it's just perfect.
That humidity gets you every time. All right.
All right.
God bless you, man.
Thank you.
Okay. Uh, be
Oh, goody. Thank you. I'm falling a lot. Uh, I'm disabled. I was in a bad car crash. 3 weeks ago, I was headed for a face plant on a hard surface. And I said to myself, oh boy, this is going to be a bad one. And all of a sudden, I flipped over and landed on my back. Now, uh, physically, there was no way that that should have happened because I was going face first and I was only like 2 feet from the ground, and all of a sudden I'm on my back. It felt a little like something else was manipulating me. So I don't know, I don't know what's going on. And I just love the sharing that we just went through. I'm having trouble getting to that part that I want to embrace and really love that's been rejected and disowned. And it seems to reside in my lower legs, in my feet, in my planting with the earth, my whatever. I don't know. I just can't get anything from this. I tried to work it several times when I realized it just kept going. And I said, I need an intervention here. I need to talk to Jeffrey.
hmm.
I read something recently in the Soul Initiation booklet, and I have to go back and check it
Well,
again.
what is you talked about the feet, so you lose your footing and fall?
Yeah, it's like my feet aren't even there. I'm aware of the rest of my body, but my feet, like you said, disown but that doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
or no, it's more like um so the theme of understanding comes forward as you talk about it and feeling understood or misunderstood.
Oh, good
And
one.
yeah, were you supported in going into the spiritual path the way that you did? in the context of your family and otherwise, or how did that all work, or were you kind of the black sheep of the family?
I just went ahead and did it and ignored them. They were very put off. My mother and father came to the USM graduation, and the first thing my mother did was ask where's the booze? I want to drink. They were so unnerved. No, I just didn't pay attention to them once I left after high school. I went through college myself and I went on my own career path by myself. I didn't really care. A couple of times I went and got jobs they wanted me to get because it was a big deal, and I got the job to show them I could get the job, but then I just quit after a while, after about a year. So it was like, fuck you. I
Yeah,
can do all this stuff you want me to do, but I don't want to do it. And you know, anyway.
yeah. I hear you. And
Yeah. So rebellion's in there, or not rebellion, but
there's anger
anger, control issues. Um,
and a sense of we oftentimes we get our rootedness or our sense of rooting from the mother, and the mother often represents the home, like when we say home, but you didn't have that. Your mother was an alien country, a
yeah,
land
yeah.
of misunderstood.
Dad was too.
Like we
Yeah.
talk about our mother tongue and our motherland, but for you, the mother was anything but that. The mother was like being behind enemy lines. Is that accurate?
That's a good one. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Like, what school did you go to?
yeah. No, so you're in this particular case, what you're talking about losing your footing, one of the things that you have not fully, so when we talk about that which we alienate within us or that which we disown, your mother would be at the top of your list.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to him for years. Yeah.
Yeah, your father you didn't have the same karma with, so I'm not seeing the same issue. It's more like it didn't sting as much. We'll put it that way. Like he
That's
was a
right.
dude. He was a dude. He did the best he could, but he wasn't that deep. But it wasn't
That's
like
pretty correct.
it wasn't like it didn't have the darkness inside of you as the mother. So what happened basically it accumulated over time, but what you're talking about is the mother in you is not healed. The mother in you doesn't feel completely released. And part of that is you have to, if you experienced your mother, all of the things that you just described and all of that, you are that. We experience our own data. We experience our own consciousness. We experience our own karma. You get that?
Yes.
So you still have a lot of, it's almost like the home and the roots that you carry are rotten. Yeah, because you still hold it like the home I came from
Yeah.
and the job they made me get and all that stuff. You're holding that in you. You're carrying that as
Mhm.
fetters upon you. And there's a way in which, and I'm telling you this from my own experience, so, like there's a way in which you go back into your childhood with a light and a loving. You go back into the memory, you go back into, and it's not that you rewrite history, you heal whatever's been incomplete in that image. So the image that you hold, that you carry. So it would be like if you go back in time to the place where your mother was at her most vicious and you brought with you like John Roger or the Lord Jesus Christ or whoever your big guns are, and you had them actually work on her and help her heal. You help her heal, you love on her, you help her learn to forgive herself, you help her release the demons, you help her do whatever she needs to do. And then you do that so thoroughly through all the memories that if anybody asked you, how was your upbringing? All you say is, I loved my mother. Because all you have left is loving. You've cleared everything else. Everything else has been blown away. Everything else has been released. So you're not gaslighting yourself and you're not bullshitting them. You
Mhm.
can tell them
Mhm.
in detail every horrible thing she did, but you got no energy on it because you've already healed it. It's like when somebody authentically says sorry to you, right?
Mhm.
And you really let it go. And if they bring it up again, you're like, why are you talking about that? We're done. Like that's done. Like I have no energy on it. Why are you bringing that up again? You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It's not about denying what occurred. It's about letting go of anything on it other than the loving that was present when it occurred. And how do I know loving was present when it occurred? Because you were present when it occurred. that's that's how I know because you're loving. That's at a fundamental level, that's what you truly are. There we can say God is love. Anything else is just gilding the lily, right? So
Mhm. Yeah,
there's a point at which we let go of all of the story and we've cleared it so fully that all we have left is the loving that's present.
I get it. That's terrific. And that's something I can do. It's not so abstract that I can't apply it.
I have
I
uh,
think-
I have a sense that often our body communicates subconscious and conscious intentions. So some of your lack of rootedness or your disconnection from the feet
Mhm.
extends from wounds related to feeling misunderstood by your mother and wounds
Mhm.
related to your unwillingness to understand your mother.
Okay.
So as you heal that level with your mother and release all that, you may find
Okay.
yourself more aware of your roots, more aware of your feet making contact with the earth. With
Awesome.
So it's like healing the mother in you is healing your relationship to your mother tongue, your mother country, mother earth. All that expression starts to be healed. And the mother holds the place of understanding in most people in their upbringing. Like that was one of the most interesting things about my upbringing. No matter what happened or how crazy or the drama could get, I always found a place of understanding with my mother. And I think that's part of it's like you don't even have to say it somehow because they carried you for 9 months. They have this weird understanding. So as much as you despise or have anger or have all those things,
Mhm.
get to a place where at a fundamental level there's still a part of her that knew you and still a part of you that knew her.
Mhm.
And the rest of it was just the learnings and the karma and the completions that you agreed to do together. And at a soulic level, you relate to her and go, well, that's a very beautiful gift because who else was gonna? It's like imagine these two lovers, these two souls who love each other more than all of God's existence. And then they talk together and they say, well, in order to complete this, we're going to have to appear to be enemies. But I'm willing to do that because I love you. I love you at that level. Then I'm willing to make you like an enemy if it will help you clear the karma you need to work with the traveler to leave the planet.
Mhm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's like you start to
Yes.
regret. It's like, oh my God. And then you feel like you could just fall at that person's feet and kiss their feet because, oh my God, thank you for doing that. And how do I know?
Wow.
How do I know that what she did was perfect in the context of your upliftment, growth, and learning? Because how many molecules had to be in the exact right place for you to find this spiritual path? How many milliseconds had to be just right for you to find this spiritual path? So how could you curse and damn a single horrible thing she did if it brought you to ultimate liberation? So you go back
Wow.
in and you unfetter her, you unburden her inside of you, so that the mother you carry is nobody but your true mother. It's the mother, not your true, not like, it's like you carry her as the soul that she is, as the beauty that she is, as the love, the beloved that she is. And then every time you think of your mother, you don't cringe and go, oh my God, I can't believe I survived that horrible she devil. You know, you go back in and you go, I am so lucky. Thank you, Lord, for this beautiful being. You see, that's the crazy radical, that's where I go with all of it. That's the healing happens in the radical willingness. It's the radical willingness to be in the joy and the presence and the loving of spirit, even when the story says otherwise.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. That's amazing. Well, I'll get to work. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, my friends, it's 9:09. Kristen will have to get you next time. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Thank you, Bruce, for your first sharing. Thank you, Christina, for also being so patient. And maybe you'll join us at the event today. There's going to be a lot of loving and beautiful experiences going on there. So I'd love to see you there. Otherwise, I'll see you Tuesday or perhaps actually Monday. I guess I'm doing a lot of this stuff lately. So, yeah, bless you. I love you. The blessings already are. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend.